Actually, I wanted to make a video about circus because not intentionally, but when I was a child, I wanted to do trapeze because I like to be in a trapeze, and I did a lot of gymnastics. So I actually had two smaller sisters, so they were, introduced to my kind of being in the trapeze, which they didn't maintain, you could say, whatever. But I had, like, when I was a kid, I had a dream about making three sisters in trapeze. And I was also very into ice dancing and skiing and horses. And I actually was a little more maybe introduced to Warner Brothers in the wrong way and with the wrong people. So I got like to learn something how Warner Brothers work animals, right? About this, how a horse goes to bed, or how a dog do strange things, stuff like that. But when I became a farmer and also learned more about how animals suffer from human beings, right? And I also sometimes, meet animals that had a previous owner. Number one is that there can be an owner in a circus that are using ways to dressage, which is not okay. It could be violation, hunger, isolation, stuff like that. That is, and I don't think it's in the spirit of circus, but it become that way because people wanted to see the lions, the elephant, the horses. So I actually turned away from all of this, and because I know a lot about, theater, ballet, dance, and stuff like that, gymnastic, I actually imagined that you could do a circus without animals. You could be the animal yourself. You could dress up like an animal, act like an animal, and with great costumes and light, it might be just as good as, Cirque du Soleil. So basically, I have now a different opinion about the zoos and the circus that I had when I was younger, that I didn't know anything. So basically, I'm very happy that the animal protection in Denmark kind of, you could say, freed the elephants, because they need, to be in peace. They're very big animals and very reliable on peace around them, like everything else. And I think like the same with the wild lions and tigers. They don't belong in zoo and don't belong in circus. They belong in where they originally lived. And a way, I think that zoos, they always present zoos as a way of protecting animals or informing about animals. That's bullshit, because they don't breed for wild. That is impossible, because a captured animal can never be competing with the generation in the wild. It will always be behind in the breeding. So basically, they get very old in zoos, but they live a horrifying life, right? They don't have space, they can't hunt, they are like psychic abused by people watching them and so on. So I actually think that if the zoos is gonna follow the circus example, the zoo could maybe be something else. It could be education through the modern TV techniques. You make like Blue Planet, or you make like robo videos of animal. You cannot get closer than in this generation. So basically, we don't need to get close to a real lion when we can get close on the Blue Planet, that type of thing, right? So basically, it's bullshit. And this about that the animals is a sort of representation of where they came from is bullshit too, because I can travel to Africa if I want to see them. So that's bullshit. I think zoos is gonna get less public. They're gonna earn less. There will be more critics. So basically, I think they could just close. Another thing about I was interested in killer whales because I like the marines, and I like the sea animals and stuff. And I was against killer whales in shows because they are very big animals and they travel very long, and to be kept in a kind of this environment, chlorine swimming pool, is cruel. And Another thing is that animals under pressure, especially wild animals, tigers, lions, bears, even horses, and also killer whales, become very, very dangerous. They're like a ticking bomb, you could say, because they are so restrained, so over-disciplinated, so unhappy, that it's just like boom up in your head, right? There was 2 trainers or more killed by killer whales. That was moms with family, with children, just for entertainment. That's not okay. And I also have experienced that Warners, they had, at the time they were making cowboy films, they actually used the wire to make the horses fall. So you were riding and then the horse fell over a wire, and luckily if it didn't get hurt or the rider. So it was very, there were some cruel things there. Another thing is, when an animal is trained for being in circus or being tamed, it's a sort of breaking down barriers, and it's also sort of loyalty, and maybe even having, you know, enjoyment or something, right? Some of these animals, they don't stay in circus. Maybe some of the lion, tigers do, right? But horses, dogs, parakeets, they don't live a life completely secure. So I sometimes meet ponies or parakeets or dogs that have been in a circus and have a very, you know, different relationship to people. And when they are deserted, neglected, it's worse for them. It's much worse because they don't get an animal in circus get an amount of training every day, and they need it. They need this kind of company. That's what they grow up to. And that's also a problem, that if you have animals in circus, where they're gonna go afterwards? If the circus goes down or the number go down or people die or something, what's the future? And that's actually the same with the wildlife, big parakeets, a lot of animals that we keep. What's gonna happen when we die? Do you have a plan or something? For example, my animals, many of them are recycled animals, right? And normally I have like the money standing for the vet to take them down if something happens to me, because I want to make sure they're not going to be like experiment for any kind of, you know, lab or therapy or some crazy trainer or something. So that's a problem with animals that have been serviced. That could also be like military show horses. And another thing is that this abusive way that are different when we needed them as a farming, right? If the farm horse were too tired, you wouldn't work it. You couldn't work it. So the military, in a way, is a very brutal way to train horses. And all of the dressage and jumping sport comes from the military. It's not the farmer like, okay, we worked in the field and now we're gonna jump on the fence going home, right? That's not the way to do it now. It's the military disciplination that's very brutal. No matter how you do it, it's brutal. So basically, I want to go back, and also in the professional sport, could we not step away from entertainment, TV, and just have fun when we're doing it? Do I need somebody to see me all the time doing stuff with my horse, my dog? If I can do it with myself and the animals and have fun with it, do I need like being, what do you want to show off for, right? Like, again, what's it for? So basically, I'm against animals in zoo, in circles, and I also question a little bit the sport, because you might think that Olympic Games or WM is a sort of sport spirit, but the truth is it's TV commercials. So if you ask a gymnastic, or if you ask a runner, or you trained all your life and you maybe was somewhat doped without knowing it, and then you're trashed. You can be like 25 and you finished in sport. You didn't get a proper education, you didn't get a good introduction to work life. You spent all your life training and you're just nobody after that. And that's because it's TV business. So think about it, huh?